Democrats are just lying about what happened on January the 6th because this is I can't actually say on YouTube why they're doing this. So I'm just going to say they're lying through their teeth, and they know they're lying, and it's deeply, deeply embarrassing. They're so over-egging the pudding on this one that it's just cringe. It's absolute cringe, and they can barely get this out with a straight face. Let's begin with Kamala Harris and how she thinks. Kamala Harris has explained to us the scale and the magnitude of the insurrection in the Capitol. Let's watch.
Certain dates echo throughout history, including dates that instantly remind all who have lived through them where they were and what they were doing when our democracy came under assault. Dates that occupy not only a place on our calendars, but a place in our collective memory. December 7th, 1941. September 11th, 2001.
No.
And January 6th, 2021.
There's literally no difference.
Even if you worked at the Capitol Hill, Bill, it wouldn't be fixed in your memory like 9/11. You know what I mean? Even if you were like a cleaner and you saw the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is insane.
Mad,
and that's
isn't it?
actually kind of disgusting.
Yep. It's unbelievably vile, which is why Pete posted this on Getter. Go follow Pete, Gizmo Shimoto or something. But if you can get that up, yeah. Are you saying there's no difference between the Pearl Harbor bombing and the riot at the Capitol, Kamala? This is mad. It's absolutely mad. Like a bunch of boomers wandered around and made a nuisance of themselves.
Yeah. And they stayed within the guide ropes.
We'll get to it. We've got it all. But anyway, let's just move on to the extremists in our halls.
What the extremists who roamed these halls targeted was not only the lives of elected leaders. What they sought to degrade and destroy was not only a building, hallowed as it is. What they were assaulting were the institutions, the values, the ideals that generations of Americans have marched, picketed, and shed blood to establish and defend.
Does anyone really feel like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are the sort of defenders of sacred American democracy? Does anyone feel that? I mean, weren't you calling the United States a racist, white supremacist country like 10 minutes ago? You know, is this really? Oh, we've totally reversed the narrative now. It's not that America's an oppressive slave state that's had an apartheid regime for 200 of its 250 years of existence. Yeah. Now it's a sacred, hallowed place in our democracy.
And I don't know how they can say this and not give reference to the context that there was like how many months, months and months and months, over a year, well over a year of BLM and Antifa riots, and they were destroying businesses. They were burning businesses that people had spent their lifetime building up. The entire livelihoods gone, cars smashed, property damaged, people assaulted, people killed. We're talking hundreds and hundreds of people killed directly and also.
Well, the official count is something like 30 people dead from the BLM riots, but who knows how many other injured or died as consequences, or live with trauma now and have had their lives ruined. It's uncountable.
And it's like COVID. I mean, you've got to look at the sort of you can't just look at the directly reported figures. I mean, the assaults on police officers were sky high. So it sort of created a environment that mitigated assaulting police officers. And for them to then talk about this as if it's just an isolated thing that just popped up. And surely, if you're going to protest in a political way, doesn't it make sense to do it at a political building instead of going and burning down somebody's tire business?
Yeah, no. That's your
seafood restaurant.
You're exactly on the money here. Like the second the rioters go after the government, the people in the government whoa, hang on, you're meant to be burning down Bob's bar over there. Sorry, what are you talking about? No, not the government.
Yeah, not the people who actually make these decisions that you're upset about.
Exactly. Yeah, how could you turn on us? And so, in fact, let's go into the next clip. That leads us nicely to this one.
On January 6th, we all saw what our nation would look like if the forces who seek to dismantle our democracy are successful. The lawlessness, the violence, the chaos.
Bloody
She hadn't
gall.
noticed. She hadn't noticed any of this in any of the previous weeks.
If we get the okay, yeah. So in July 2020, this is what had happened. There was night of destruction across DC as protesters clashed with police inside White House, as the Washington Post describe it. If we can scroll down, you can just see some of the pictures. I mean, just violence, lawlessness, chaos. I mean, it just is. This is all people, burning American flags. I mean, at one point, Donald Trump was forced to evacuate the White House because of, lefty protesters being violent, lawless, all this sort of stuff.
But that wasn't an assault on democracy.
That's not an assault on democracy, right? So according to Fox News, 60 Secret Service members were injured during the George Floyd protests in DC, in this place. Not like somewhere else in Portland or something. No, they don't care about that. And of course, we've got pictures of Washington, DC just being on fire. If we can go to it, if you can get up the first one where you can see the monument, that's things in the streets on fire across the city, but not government things. And so she doesn't care about all of that. So it's not like people don't know what lawlessness, violence, and chaos look like.
This was being perpetrated by what's basically the sort of the militia, the youth
Democrat
militia
militias.
wing of the Democrat Party. So she
Absolutely.
was fully supportive of this because it's creating violence and instability in the country while the opposing side, while Trump is in
for
power.
Donald Trump. Exactly. It's not. It's literally their foot soldiers on the streets doing everything that she was saying that was warning that was going to happen, lawlessness, violence, and chaos. And the arrogance that she thinks that you're too stupid to know this went on. It's unbelievable. So anyway, let's go for the next clip where she can barely stop herself from laughing at you.
We must unite in defense of our democracy in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our prosperity and posterity. That is the preamble of the Constitution.
She can barely stop herself from laughing.
Yeah.
The whole thing is just delivered with an ugly smirk. Like the idea that we're going to unite now to deliver the prosperity and blessings of liberty.
Yeah.
Bollocks.
It's like watching a bad Netflix satire.
It really is. It really is a badly delivered one. Yeah. But anyway, enough of Kamala Harris. Let's go on to the kingpin himself. I was going to call him Mum-Ra then, but I think his name's Joe Biden. Let's watch the first clip.
1 year ago today, in this sacred place, democracy was attacked, simply attacked. The will of the people was under assault. The Constitution, our Constitution, faced the gravest of threats. Outnumbered in the face of a brutal attack, the Capitol Police, the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department, the National Guard, and other brave law enforcement officials saved the rule of law. Our democracy held. We, the people, endured. We, the people, prevailed.
God, sounds like Mussolini's speech or something, doesn't it? Yeah. We, the people, prevail. What, we, the multimillionaire corrupt politicians who have been in government for 50 years, prevail. What we, the people, is there here? It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
But using the term prevail, that's just weird, man.
Yeah.
That's weird.
And as if, we all saw pictures of it. It looked like a stag do that got out of hand.
Yes,
it wasn't anything. Like the US has been involved in lots of coups all around the world, and they always... They need tanks, they need helicopter gunships, they need aircraft carriers, they need thousands of highly trained troops. They never have your mad uncle in a Viking helmet. It's always a bit more sophisticated than that. I mean, looking at I could have repelled them from my greenhouse. It wasn't a serious attempt at a coup.
I mean, none of them went with any guns.
Yeah.
If you're going to have any attempt at a coup in a country that has more guns per capita than any other country in the world, the fact that none of them turned up armed with a firearm is staggering, isn't it?
And most of them turned up armed with an American flag. So they're presumably going to take over America and replace it with America.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what was the threat here? You know,
Real regime change there.
yeah. That's a great point. Right, let's watch the next clip.
She recorded what took place. The real history, the real facts, the real truth. The facts and the truth that Vice President Harris just shared, and that you and I and the whole world saw with our own eyes.
Does anyone trust Joe Biden as being the arbiter of truth?
Man, I wouldn't trust Joe Biden to run to the shops and get me a Mars bar. You'd
Exactly.
never see him again. He'd get on the wrong bus.
Yeah, he's not going to come. Even if he did, he's not going to come back with the change, is he?
Yeah,
You know, like, you're not going to get that back, right? But he's like, okay, so we all saw with our own eyes. Yeah, I saw stuff like this guy, like this just a Florida man having a good old time. You know,
Yeah.
the U.S. Capitol, the building he pays for, incidentally, right?
yeah.
But we also saw the police opening the doors for the rioters,
Yeah.
and inviting them in, and as you said earlier, them staying respectfully within the velvet ropes.
Yeah.
Like, sorry.
And you know if there's anything back. I mean, there were a couple of sort of, a couple of nasty bits, but they were broadcast widely
Yes.
on the media. If there's widespread rioting, burning, all the rest of it. I mean, I think some of them took a dump on someone's desk. But there would, it's all pretty much. It's like if you broke into school, age 13. It's the sort of stuff you do. You know what I mean? It wasn't.
I'm going to take a dump on Nancy Pelosi's desk.
Yeah.
Oh God, democracy's over.
Yeah. No, you just need a French polisher. It's fine. It's fine. It wipes
Exactly.
off. That's why they're varnished, Nancy.
Get one eater in to clean it up for you,
Yeah,
Nancy.
yeah.
It'll be fine.
Get an average Democrat man in to eat it. And
go for the next
he'll probably come about 3 times.
The Bible tells us that we shall know the truth, and the truth shall make us free. We shall know the truth. Well, here is the God's truth about January 6, 2021. Close your eyes. Go back to that day. What do you see?
Yeah.
Is really
Why?
the God's honest truth.
He's
Okay.
undermining his own argument here.
He is absolutely undermining his own argument. But okay, I mean, I remember Baked Alaska and Nick Fuentes running around Pelosi's office, ringing her phone. Like, if you can get that one up, John, just like there was lots of footage of, I mean, it was literally like a university or college prank that's got out of control where these idiots from the internet are just being idiots and excited to be somewhere that they're not supposed to be. They're literally like misbehaving school children. And Joe Biden's like, oh, it's a rampage. Well, how much of a rampage was it? If we can go to the next one. Minor property damage.
Yeah.
That seems to be it. Some papers were scattered on the floor.
Yeah.
Things were knocked over. A couple of water bottles on the floor there. Someone took a dump on Pelosi's desk. I mean, tragic
Yeah.
seems. How will we ever rebuild? Anyway, let's move on to the next one.
A mob breaking windows, kicking in doors, breaching the Capitol. American flags on poles being used as weapons, as spears. Fire extinguishers being thrown at the heads of police officers. A crowd that professes their love for law enforcement assaulted those police officers, dragged them, sprayed them, stomped on them. Over 140 police officers were injured.
And I assume that the Democrat activists were all cheering, saying ACAB. Yeah. All cops are bastards. I mean, like, were the rioters woke? Is that what he's saying? But unironically, Washington high school yearbooks feature ACAB sign and arts of police assault. Well, the Democrats must be like, oh, bravo. I can't believe they got there before we did.
Yeah.
Why didn't we think of this?
Yeah. Why don't we think of protesting at the seat of power instead of just burning down hardworking people's businesses?
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? How, this just completely goes over their heads. I mean, they want to defund the police, remember? If we can go to the next one. They've got a whole screed about enough is enough. The police are racist. They're oppressing everyone. Defund them. And suddenly Joe Biden's like, well, those brave and noble cops. It's like, sorry, that's just not what your activists think. It's not what your base thinks. Yeah. Do you not remember when Portland Antifa were literally burning down police stations? Like, we can get to the next one, John. You can see here just pictures of it and things like that. You can watch a video of them burning down a police station, running over cops. Joe Biden has nothing to say about this.
Yeah.
But the second you try and challenge the government, how dare you, sir?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go.
And of course, Portland is now a cesspit of violence and murder.
Yeah, exactly.
Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought getting rid of the police?
Just like Kamala Harris warned, in fact. You know. Let's go to the
We
next
saw
one.
with our own eyes. Rioters menaced these halls, threatening the life of the Speaker of the House, literally erecting gallows to hang the Vice President of the United States of America.
Should we have a look at those gallows?
Let's have a look at those
Let's
gallows.
have a look at the gallows. That's an adult woman. Is the Vice President of the United States a midget? Like, what are you planning? You couldn't hang Peter Dinklage on those gallows. Like, sorry. Literally erecting gallows. Well, you know, mock gallows.
And also, look, from a structural engineering point of view,
yeah, is that gonna hold?
That is not going to support a lot of weight. I mean, at best, you're going to hang a hamster.
Yeah, exactly. It needs like at least some sort of supporting beam, doesn't it, on the
you
arm?
need bracing at the bottom and at the top.
Yeah.
No, they haven't thought this through. This is because American rioters are out of practice with building gallows.
Apparently so, yeah. Like not experienced gallows builders. Maybe they should have contacted some Black Lives Matter Antifa types and got some professional information on that.
I mean, it's probably just as well they didn't try a guillotine.
But seriously,
It would have been like a Wilkinson sword 3-blade razor
It would have been, wouldn't it?
on a rubber band.
I just love the hysteria. Literally building gallows. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
You know, you're being ridiculous.
I mean, yeah, it's not a very nice thing to do. It's but it's a symbolic thing. It's not a
Yes, no one is going to get literally hanged in this.
Yeah. And also, you think maybe, before they get to seize the vice president of the most militarily powerful government in the world, somebody might stop them. Somebody might be like, no, grandma, no, you're not taking the vice president. We've got a few guys with guns and hard helmets here.
And you didn't bring a single gun. But anyway, right, yeah, we're keeping on the time. Let's go to see what Trump did.
What did we not see? We didn't see a former president who had just rallied the mob to attack, sitting in the private dining room off the Oval Office in the White House, watching it all on television and doing nothing.
So apparently Trump just rallied them all up to go and kill all of these senators and did nothing about it.
And then he didn't storm in himself and say, no, everybody, back in your vans.
Well,
Back in the bus.
Honestly, he's the most disappointing dictator the United States never had, to be honest.
Yeah.
But this is what Trump said before.
Get ready for some inflammatory language here.
It's wild.
Know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. Today we will see whether Republicans stand strong for integrity of our elections.
Peacefully and patriotically.
Yeah.
Wow. And then, of course, when things started getting out of hand, Trump started posting things on social media. If we can just get those up a second, John, just so people can see them. Please support our Capitol and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of the country. Stay peaceful.
Oh, my God. I hope he was removed from Twitter for this.
Oh, well, good thing you happened to mention that. He's removed from all social media for this. There are things and events that happen when a sacred landslide election victory is so unceremoniously stripped and viciously stripped away from great patriots who have been badly and unfairly treated so long. Go home with love and in peace. Remember this day forever. Go home. And this was a video of him saying, enough is enough, go home. Of course, I can't get it because it's been taken down. We can go to the next one. John, I think there's another one. I'm asking everyone at the US Capitol to remain peaceful, no violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order, respect the law, and our great men and women in blue. Thank you. Right, so at least four different things. One video, his speech was go over there peacefully. I don't think you can fairly characterize this as Donald Trump saying, hang them all. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, let's carry on. This narrative gets more ridiculous.
This wasn't a group of tourists. This was an armed insurrection.
Whoa.
Armed insurrection.
I don't know. I mean, if you look at them and you look at pictures of armed insurrections, which we've seen a few of over the past few years in the Middle East, places like that. There's usually some
Guns.
dusty Toyota Hiluxes, some very angry men in their 20s hanging off with AK-47s and rocket launchers. What you don't have is like an 82-year-old woman with a United States flag.
Yeah, a little miniature
T-cozy.
flag and a mask, wandering around. Like, it looked like a barbecue that got out of control.
Yeah.
Like, it was unbelievable that he's like, now the armed insurrection.
Yeah.
And so I looked into this. I was like, okay, well, let's look into this. And CNN said so far, with the investigation still ongoing, 3 individuals have been charged for allegedly bringing a gun onto Capitol Capitol grounds on January the 6th. At least 2 other individuals have also been charged with gun crimes in relation to events of that day, although they have not been accused of carrying on Capitol grounds.
And this is America, so that's probably lower than average for that day.
That's probably lower than average for a school. Like, I'm not even joking, actually, right? And so none of them took guns into the Capitol. They're on Capitol ground, so it's the large body of people who were standing, in front of the Lincoln Memorial and whatnot. There was, some people who had like pistol hips and pistols on their hips and stuff like that, right? But no one took guns into the Capitol, right? And so U.S. Police Sergeant Aquilino Gonell told CNN, the common things that were used as weapons, like a baseball bat, a hockey stick, a rebar, a flagpole, including American flag, pepper spray, and bear spray. The rioters had all these items used to attack us. Those are weapons. Okay, right. Armed with pepper spray. Pepper spray insurrectionists. Just like ISIS.
Yeah.
And so let's carry on.
My fellow Americans, in life there's truth, and tragically there are lies. Lies conceived and spread for profit and power.
Joe Biden would know all about that. Yeah. Well, no, just think about it. Lies conceived for profit and power. Yeah, lots of them. Like we found out from the Biden family through Hunter Biden's laptop.
Yeah.
That the media censored.
That the media censored and covered up the New York Post story about it,
Yep.
even though it was deleted from Twitter and I think other social media as well, even though it's a legitimate, verified, long-standing...
the oldest paper in America.
Yeah, yeah.
And the 3rd most widely read.
Yeah.
So not a bunch of fringe lunatics, and they dug into the Hunter laptop story. It turned out the laptop was legitimate, and it turned out that we found from the emails that were on it that Hunter Biden is in bed with Chinese billionaires who are lavishing literally tens of millions of dollars on him. 10% of which go to the big guy, which we are, I think, safe to assume is Joe Biden. But also with his Mexican business partners. Joe Biden attended meetings between Hunter Biden and his Mexican business partners. Anything about conflict of interest about this? Anything about, using lies for power and money? And of course, we saw that the whole thing is about money laundering, basically. And we can see the ties they've got between White House and China.
And so when people talk about electoral fraud, when people talk about the election being stolen, we're not talking about, actually like Putin would do, or like Putin does, faking votes and destroying votes or anything like that. So the tech and media are systemically woke, and they silence stories. Like the Hunter Biden stories were silenced, and that created that. That was something that would have taken votes away from the Democrats.
Well, no, away from the Republicans. This is exactly what Robert Epstein pointed out. He was a longtime associate of Hillary Clinton, and he testified before Congress saying, look, algorithmically, you are influencing the election in this way. It doesn't have to be like, someone has rigged a ballot or something like that. This is an unfair playing field that you're operating on, and it's in favor of the Democrats against the Republicans.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's definitely something that's happening. But this is, direct corruption. If we can go to the next one, you can see how this, there's a money laundering probe that, of course, is going to go nowhere because Biden is just going to tell the FBI not to do anything. But yeah, so let's get back to the most lucid part of Joe Biden's speech.
That the mob who sought to impose their will through violence are the nation's true patriots. Is that what you thought when you looked at the mob ransacking the Capitol, destroying property, literally defecating in the hallways, rifling through the desks of senators and representatives, hunting down members of Congress?
Oh, come on.
Patriots? Not in my view. To me, the true patriots were the more than 150 Americans who peacefully expressed their vote at the ballot box.
That's right, 150 Americans voted in the last election. Good to know. But yeah, imagine. Honestly, that's the kind of Hunger Games I'd pay to watch. Like mobs. I hate politicians generally. So, it's like, they were hunting down politicians in the halls. It's like, oh, really? Do go on. But yes, so the rioters, as was reported at the time, just like they appear to be curiously deferential to some of the symbols of democracy during the Capitol riots. And like you say, they're covered in American flags. If this is regime change, they're going to be replacing America with America. So this is obviously not the issue. This is obviously Biden totally lying about what was happening. No one was hunting down Democrat politicians in the halls, because we live in the bad reality. Anyway, Let's get on to just the very dregs of what the Democrats have. They did this thing where they sit there and get up and tell their own little personal stories. So let's watch the next clip.
A president, a man and his cronies, drunk with power and intent on keeping the spigot of that power open, plotted and used the frustrations, ignorance, fear, anger, bigotry of many as a fire hose to push away the election results and destroy our democracy. The efforts of that day, January 6th, were crushed by the brave men and women of the Metropolitan and Capitol Police who defended the citadel of democracy, who put their lives as barriers to the hordes of hell unleashed by Donald Trump.
Hordes of hell. Okay, the boomers are bad, but they're not that bad. Like, come on, hordes of hell, what is wrong with you? Right, and got another clip from her, it's just classic.
I was frustrated because as I was leaving my office, my staff told me, you can't leave the office, you have to stay exactly where you are. And I got so frustrated, I was so angry, knowing that I could not be with you all. In the Virgin Islands, they say, I like to be in things. And I wanted to be in things with you all right there. And if you can believe, I actually pounded my fist on the desk. Can you believe that? That I couldn't be with you all.
Does she look like she's telling you the truth?
Well, and also, I mean, that's not the most horrific story of survival I've ever heard in my life. Somebody getting driven through frustration, one of the worst things that can happen to somebody, driven through frustration to pound their fist on the desk.
I know, but the thing is, I love the way she's like, can you believe it? It's like, I totally can. That's so obviously not a lie. And we'll finish on just like this insane narrative.
Just a year ago, we watched in horror as armed insurrectionists laid siege to the seat of our democracy. We feared for our lives and the lives of our staff. We bunkered down and sent prayers up while we watched domestic terrorists hoping to dismantle our democracy.
That's ridiculous. Like, we all saw it. We all know what happened. You know, like for them to paint it like this, particularly, even without the context of all the Black Lives Matter and Antifa riots, it's a joke.
It's wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast, The Lotus Eaters, you can go over to lotuseaters.com to check out all the content we have on the site, such as this article, which is from Brian Jury, sorry for butchering your name, 6 Things You Need to Know About Laura Bates's Manosphere. And you may remember Ryan as the Glass Blind Spot on YouTube. But if you'd like to find out what else is coming out on the website, you can always check us on Getter at lotuseaters_com being the @. Thank you and goodbye.